alongside one of his very good friends, the headline fight tonight, Mr. Sharaf Davlatmuradov, and to do that they've travelled the world. Ahmed Wali, Khotak, the Afghanistan fighter in the blue corner, and Denis Kanakov in the red.
Third round, round one.
Ahmed got to be extremely careful stepping in. Kanakov works very well on the back foot. Good counter strike. Oh, and there's a heavy shot as well.
Beautiful right hand after catching the kick, and you can see he's more disciplined in his stance.
Kanakov happy to get him back to his feet.
And Khotak isn't going to be able to keep leaping in the way he is. You can just see the way that Kanakov is set up with that right hand. He throws it technical and sharp, and we've already had a demonstration of it 30 seconds into this first round.
Oh, a nice stiff jab there as well.
Coming forward with the left hooks now was the best option either.
Oh, there we go. Ahmed felt a bit of the power there. You've got to watch the knees from Kanakov as well. They were devastating in this fight at ACB 55. It always impresses me how switched on Kanakov is. Whatever he does in the back, whoever he's working with, he always comes in. No warming up. Timing's beautiful.
He's moving in and out, tripping off, trying to cause Khotak to fire. And off of that in and out, he's thrown a great jab in there. That combination was a jab, cross to the body, through the left hook up top, and then slipped out of there and didn't get hit. Beautiful exchange on his feet. Really showcasing that all the hard work and traveling home, away from home, is really paying off.
You can also see just in their posture, their demeanor, the difference. Kanakov very relaxed, whereas there's almost a tenseness about Ahmed. Oh, that was heavy. Again, we've got to be careful of that ankle lock. Oh, look at that. That was clever.
Can't opener to hold the head from being tripped. Khotak just fights with such passion, and he's tight. No matter how great a shape he is in, if he doesn't finish Kanakov, he's going to be tired in the third round.
Warning there from her, being about the back of the head, picking your shots. Khotak, dangerous from both positions. They're true mixed martial artists. 2 of his finishes by KO, 2 of them by submission. Heel strike there to the side. Well picked. Those are now legal in 2017. As long as they're not on the spine, you can use your heel to strike to the back of your opponent. Tying Kanakov up quite well, didn't he?
Yeah. But Kanakov is fighting. Look, head's inside. He's working to try to get his hands in. So he pulls him back. He rotates. Now his elbows are down on the mat, knees brought up. It makes it hard for Khotak's hips to sway in and out. And you really need to do that to create angles from the bottom, not only to avoid getting hit, but also to create that angle for an armbar, for a triangle. It's very hard to throw up submissions from your back when your spine is parallel with your opponent who's on top of you.
Just under 1 minute 45 now left in this first round. Some interesting exchanges on the feet, and now fairly even on the ground so far. A lot of action coming from Khotak off the bottom. And this is very impressive, especially if you watch back some of Kanakov's fights. He's devastating in guard with ground and pound, and so far Khotak's been able to control a lot of his posture and a lot of his attacks.
Now, the only criticism I would have on that is, like you called out, he's so tight. You can see the tension he has in his hands, his elbows pulling down. So even though he very well fought off from the bottom there, he expended a lot of energy doing so. Not energy cardio-wise, but just that muscle tension fatigues you, squeezing and holding.
So back on their feet with just 25 seconds left. Nice jab to the body legs, one each.
And Khotak has a very bad tail. And against Kanakov, this could be a very bad mistake. He lifts his left foot up and leaps into that jab and left hook. If Kanakov identifies that, all he has to do is wait for when he sees him rock his foot up to leap forward and then fire his own right hand. And now that right hand becomes twice as powerful. It's like running right into a javelin. It's coming at you.
Some heavy shots there from Kanakov. Some shots off the ground from himself, from Khotak. But big deep breaths. Look at the difference in demeanors from the two fighters that we can see. Khotak straight away glugging from the bottom there. A more composed Kanakov. But let's look back at some of this action.
There was again, he catches the kick, right hand, that first one, and very much mirror image of what happened the second time. Threw it to the body, avoided the sweep from Khotak, and pretty much finished the round just ground and pounding.
So we will see a second round here, scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, should it go the distance. Some fantastic events coming up as well. We'll make the trip to Kazakhstan September the 9th, ACB 69. Then on to Sheffield for ACB 70. The Battle of Britain, Luke Barnett takes on Scott Askham. Tickets available from sheffieldarena.co.uk. Fantastic undercard as well. Saidov versus Marcelo Alfaya in a co-main event, a welterweight bout. That has fireworks written all over it. Two very aggressive fighters looking to establish their place as #1 contender to take on our newly crowned champ, Mohamed Berkamov. Let's get back to the action here at ACB 68. Ahmed Wali, Khotak
round
in the blue corner, and Denis Kanakov in the red. Oh, the initial thing I see at the start of this round, Denis Kanakov has stepped slightly more into range.
He is understanding the distance. That's an experienced striker. You don't want to just jump in on a guy early before you realize his speed, his timing, his distance, and you're able to tighten up and basically tailor your offense towards him as the fight wears on, knowing where you have to be, when you're going to throw and what you're going to throw, how he's reacting to it, like right there.
Oh, that's a nice combination of the jab to the body there.
Body lock to an inside leg trip.
Back down with Kanakov on top, similar to the last 2 minutes of round #1.
And Herb, I think the ref here is seeing that Kanakov might not really be doing enough to warrant this fight to stay here on the ground. Let him work for a little bit, but I guarantee the stoppage will happen, or the startup is probably going to occur a little sooner, unless Kanakov picks up his output.
Khotak doing well, tying him up. But that's exhausting as well.
Hold a pull-up. Anybody home watching, you want to know what that feels like? Hold your weight up on a pull-up. That static squeeze and hold, and then try to throw a dart afterwards against the wall. Trying to be coordinated afterwards when you do that kind of tension, or shoot a basketball after doing something like an exercise that pumps your arms up.
I think pull-ups and darts, you just started a new Olympic sport then.
It'd be the counterpart to whatever, chess and boxing, right?
Kanakov, he's burying his head in there. Like you said, like to see more action, but Khotak very active off his back as far as hip movement and
if I was
strikes.
Kanakov's corner, I would be worried that the judges are not liking and feeling that Khotak is actually fighting more from the bottom than Kanakov is from the top. Yes, Kanakov's in a superior position, but he's not really doing a lot with it. The shots he's landing are not vicious. They're just scoring.
Kanakov currently on a 6-fight win streak. This would take him to 7 and establish himself as one of the contenders up there in the lightweight division. We have a fantastic lightweight bout at ACB 71 for the interim title. Koshkin versus Vartanyan, the main event there in Moscow.
And you know what? Honestly, if you're just watching Kanakov, that's probably why the fight, not until now, was getting started up. Khotak is fighting enough off the bottom that actually, I think Herb was lying to continue longer because of his activity there.
Khotak has a really wide open striking guard there.
Yeah, right now because of fatigue, his shoulders are really trying to take over to keep his hands up. His traps are pulling.
He's got some heart as well, though. Kanakov threw that big right hand and he ate it, instantly coming back with one of his own.
Yeah, there he goes. He's able to relax his shoulders. Keeping the elbows flared out like that makes it difficult to throw a fast punch. Power does come from the hip, but it'd be like a pitcher in baseball flexing his neck and shoulder before throwing a ball down. It's not going to have the snap on it, regardless of how much leg drive he throws.
Of his own.
I think Herb was going off the sound of that. It sounded like they clashed cups.
No complaint from either fighter, though. And Khotak's just awkward to fight, isn't he? As soon as you get in range, he's throwing something.
Yeah, that was a nice uppercut he just threw.
10 seconds left.
Concentrado round, end of the second round.
If you put money on this to go to the third round at the start, I'll be very, very surprised with the fighting styles and also the run these two are on in their career and who they've taken out and how they've done it. But they've been very tentative on their feet. A lot of respect shown in all areas between the two.
Well, I think what happens really is Kanakov is the cleaner of the strikers, more technical. But that's not saying Khotak isn't. Khotak he also, though, with a little bit lack of the technique that Kanakov has, makes up for that. He just throws hard and he's fearless. And that is throwing Kanakov also on his feet. So far, the most decisive things he's done is catch the kick, throw the cross, the straight right hand to knock over Khotak. It's not a devastating shot. It looks good. I don't know how they're scoring that. And he has been on top most of this fight.
It'll be interesting indeed to see if this does go to decision, but we have one more round, 5 more minutes for this to be decided. Very calm corner from Kanakov there. Much more animated in the corner of Khotak. That's a clever corner there behind their fighter, a few extra seconds of breath before they go into the third round.
Third round, round 3.
So here we go, round 3. Denis Kanakov in the red corner with Ahmed Wali Khotak moving forward in the blue corner. And again, Kanakov going for that clinch. Nice trip there.
He got his hips in deep. Was able to twist him down, but just ends up inside the closed guard here. We're about to.
Great hips from Khotak. Just re-established that, and he's got the butterfly this time as well as controlling that right arm.
More of this.
Deja vu. Short shot from Kanakov.
Ah, now that's a little bit more animation than striking. You know, one tell I use is the upper body. If a guy throws a strike and his upper body doesn't move in the ground and pound area, it pretty much indicates it's just an arm punch. It's hard to twist your hips and pivot and push off the ground, but you can use gravity. If you watch some guys like, I think the first guy I really watched that did a phenomenal job of that was Tito Ortiz.
Ah, yes.
You would see his whole body, he would be at a 45-degree angle, then boom, he would slam down to 90 as he hit you with the strike. So you knew that his weight was coming down behind that punch, behind that elbow, and we've seen him get some devastating wins that way. So in turn, the fact that Kanakov's head is buried in the chest, these strikes aren't really hurting. I mean, no one wants to get punched in the face by anything, but these aren't devastating, brutal strikes. Up a little bit, create some space, and then drive down with those strikes. I would say there's some weight behind him. But right now he's on his knees, so he has no legs behind the punches. The fact that his head never moves away from the chest, there's no weight behind it. So the only thing that's going on is that it's an arm punch. It's about as basic of an arm punch that you can describe. It's just the arm with the shoulder moving the hand.
Obviously wasn't happy himself with the work going on there. It was him that stood up and...
Oh, he landed a nice knee there.
Nice knee, but he received one of his own from Khotak.
But Khotak is tired. Spit his mouthpiece out, catch a deeper breath, and sometimes, especially if you don't have a well-fitted mouthpiece by a dentist, it can feel constricting when you have that in your mouth. And guys will panic and spit it out so they can catch a breath.
Don't think Herb Dean spotted that either.
No, because it didn't come off a shot. If he had gotten hit and it flew out, it would have directed Herb's eyes to that action. The fact that it was from a clinch and then Kanakov was going for the takedown, Khotak just turned his head to the side and spit his own mouthpiece out. And on the opposite side of where Herb was actually standing, so he couldn't see it. The only chance he has is if he notices that Khotak doesn't have one in his mouth, or can look over, but the mouthpiece is clear. It's not like it's very visually striking against the canvas.
No, absolutely, it's a clear mouthpiece, and Herb concentrating just on
I like that move.
Nice.
You need the other knee in there, man.
Just 1 minute 30 seconds left. This has been a bit more decisive from Kanakov when they got back to the feet. The clinch, a nice trip that put him back in this position.
Yes. Well, he was working from side control for a little bit, now working at least in the half guard. Not as easy to get tied up, so he's freer to exchange shots. But again, look, the punch, he's not dropping his weight behind these strikes. Oh,
now he has mount. And this is... It's not great, especially with no mouthpiece in, but Herb Dean right on top here. 55 seconds left. And punches just coming down. There's no defense. That's it. Denis Kanakov, after 2 rounds, which were basically a stalemate, made the decision to stand up, and when Khotak engaged in the clinch, got the trip, got the mount, and then finished him with strikes. Nothing too powerful, but enough that Khotak had nothing left in the tank to come back.
If Khotak would have been moving around, trying to escape the mount, I don't think those strikes would have warranted a stoppage from Herb, but the fact was that he just covered up. Herb can't have a fight going on for 30 to 45 seconds where a guy just covers up and is taking shots from a bad position, even when the shots aren't the most decisive.
Well, it might not be the most decisive victory as far as a statement for Denis Kanakov, but that does take him to 7 wins in his career. 8-1. And it was another finish, so he gets that $3,000 bonus. And he continues his march in the lightweight division.
Бойцы на середину. Время остановки боя 4 минуты и 10 секунд третьего раунда. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a time for 1 minute and 10 seconds of round number 3. Техническим нокаутом добивания. Победу одержал Денис Канаков!